Good morning, Boker Tov. Welcome to this opportunity to start our day together and grounded and grateful and hopeful and angry and thoughtful and everything at once. All of those different parts are all part of the unity that we take part in. So please let's have that sense of togetherness. Please do go ahead and send a word of greeting to others who are with us on our service this morning so that we have this opportunity together. We'll start in a moment. Annette, good morning. Boker Tov, Joni. It's wonderful to be here together this morning, and I appreciate people's willingness to be here, to greet one another, and to start the day in a meaningful way. So to one, to all, Boker Tov, welcome to Boker Tov from Temple Sinai. Temple Sinai Congregation of Toronto's daily opportunity to connect, to reflect, and to remember. And as we join together this morning, we do so as we do each day with words of gratitude, words that remind us that our very presence here in front of our devices, connected to one another, breathing in and breathing out is itself a miracle. So please join me in the Hebrew and the English. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher yatzar et ha'adam bechokma, uvarah bo nekavim nekavim, chalulim chalulim, galui v'yadua lifnei chisech vodecha, sheim yipatech echad mehem, o yisatem echad mehem, אי אפשר להתקיים ולעמוד לפניך. ברוך אתה, אדוני, רופא כל בשר ומפליא לעשות. Blessed eternal God, creator of the universe, you have fashioned our bodies with wisdom, creating within us a finely balanced network. To stand before you in prayer is itself a fragile miracle. Eternal God, we praise you as the healer of body and spirit. And we continue with the miracle of breath, but not of oxygen or nitrogen, but of that amazing spirit that we take in each time we breathe, the spirit that inhabits us and enlivens us, and that affirms and reflects and sustains our uniqueness, each of us created in the image of God. Please join me. The soul that you have given me, O God, is a pure one. You have created and formed it, breathed it into me, and within me you sustain it. So long as my soul is within me, I will give thanks to you, eternal my God and God of my ancestors, source of all creation, sovereign of all souls. We praise you, eternal God, in whose hand is the power of all life and the spirit of all flesh. And let's now join together La'asok b'divrei Torah, of celebrating that wonder of learning and the gift of Torah, of teaching that inspires and challenges our people generation after generation. Please join me in the Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. וערב נא אדוני אלוהינו את דברי תורתך בפינו ובפי עמך בית ישראל, ונהיה אנחנו וצאצאינו וצאצאי עמך בית ישראל, כולנו יודעי שמך ולומדי תורתך לשמה. ברוך אתה אדוני, המלמד תורה לעמו ישראל. אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור. These are the obligations whose value cannot be measured. They nourish us in this world and help us to create the world to come. Kibud av va'em, to honor fathers and mothers. Ugmilut chasadim, to perform acts of love and kindness. Vashkamat bet midrash shacharit v'arvit, to attend the house of study morning and evening. V'achnasat orchim, to welcome the stranger. Uviku cholim, to visit the sick. V'hachnasat kala, to provide for brides and grooms. Ulvayat hamed, to keep faith with the dead. V'yun tefillah, to pray with sincerity. V'hava'at shalom ben adam lechavero, to make peace when there is strife. V'talmud Torah keneged kulam, and the study of Torah is equal to them all. Let's continue with our Birchot HaShachar, with our morning blessings. And let's recite the first blessing in half Hebrew, half English, the second one entirely in Hebrew. And we'll continue alternating, except for when we get to the top of the next page and say the prayer Matir Asurim, for setting free the captives. Painfully, 406 days later, they're still being cruelly held, and some are still alive and living this torture day after day. And so we recite that blessing twice, reminding us and all those around us of our mutual responsibility to see that they are freed and returned home. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you have given the rooster the natural wisdom to distinguish day from night. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tzalmenu kidmutenu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you have given me free will. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you have helped me provide for my needs. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you clothe the naked. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim. And then also in half English, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you release those who are held captive. Half English, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you help those who are bowed to stand straight. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, roka haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you guide each person's steps. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you crown Israel with glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten leYayev koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you remove sleep from my eyes and weariness from my eyelids. And in that spirit, we continue with the words of Shema Yisrael, words of unity and unification, words that challenge us to live our loving values in our homes and on our ways, when we lie down, when we rise up, to carry them as a lens and how we see the world, and as a guide for our hand of what we do as we make our way in our world each day. In that spirit, please join me in Shema Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, Bechol levavecha, Uvechol nafshecha, Uvechol meodecha. Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, Asher anochi metzavcha hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'vetecha, u'v'lechtecha v'derech, u'v'shochbecha u'v'kumecha, u'kshartam leot al yadecha, v'ayu letotafot ben einecha, u'chtavtam al mezuzot betecha u'v'isharecha. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el bnei Yisrael ve'amarta aleim, ve'asu lahem tzitzit al kanfei vigdeim ledorotam, ve'natnu al tzitzit akanaf betil techelet, v'haya lachem letzitzit, u'ritem oto, u'zchartem et kol mitzvot Adonai va'asitem otam, ve'lo tatu acharei levavchem, ve'acharei einechem, Asher atem zonim acharehem, lema'an tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'item kedoshim leloechem, ani Adonai Elohechem, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם emet. Well, this morning, it being a Friday morning, we take a moment to look out at the world around us. It is a challenging thing for us to do, for us to find the right perspective and focus in seeing the many and varied and often troubling things that are taking place in our world. For example, this morning, as I was getting ready to share words at our in-person minyan at 7:30 this morning, and then here on Boker Tov, I couldn't help but reflect that at the beginning of this week, Monday was November the 11th, Remembrance Day, a day when we recall the incredible commitment, bravery, dedication, and sacrifice of those who have served in the armed forces and who have provided us with the kind of privileged and free existence that we have each and every day. Especially as I stood this past Sunday with our grade 6 families, together with Tammy Kligman of our congregation, who has dedicated so much of her energies to the memory and the support of Jewish veterans like her father. That as we stood with grade 6 families at the Cenotaph Memorial to Jewish Soldiers at Mount Sinai Cemetery down the street from Toronto, where we brought those families to learn and to remember, to do some acts of service, caring for their memories and for the stones that remember them. I was so aware of that great generation, so many who served in the Second World War. And while it is the Jewish population of Canada who volunteered in the greatest percentage numbers, that was called the Great Generation because in an imperfect world where people had as wide and varied ideas as we have today, about politics and about getting involved in the world and about sacrifice and about anything, they stood up and recognized that when there is a threat to the very basis of our society, we must be able to respond. And I admit, as I share with you today, that I am frightened that we in our time might be known not as the great generation, but as the weak generation, as a generation who, as a larger community, are unwilling to stand up when, in a more subtle way than World War II, when there is an ongoing assault on a democratic Western way of life. And so it reminded me that that threat is so obvious when, as you may be aware, later this month, there's a plan that came to public attention this week for a quote unquote pro-Palestinian group to have a vigil in Celebration Square in Mississauga, public space in Mississauga, but central municipal space, as a vigil that would include a vigil for Yahya Sinwar, butcher of Gaza, butcher of Khan Yunis, as he was known even among his own people, and who, as the head of a named terrorist organization, carried out one of the most vicious terrorist attacks in modern history. And even more so, cynically, the group who's planning this event used the image of a poppy and the words "lest we forget" on the initial advertising for the event. To date, Carolyn Parrish, the mayor of Mississauga, has refused to say that this vigil cannot go forward. There is no permit that needs to be provided, but charter rights don't mean that people can say and do anything anywhere they want and at any time. And to allow a group in public space that representing the heart of one of Canada's largest cities. Mississauga itself is one of the largest cities in Canada, to allow a group to gather to publicly praise a terrorist who carried out violence of every kind, ordered it, saw to it, and who engineered the incredible explosion of violence and war that has come after, which was his goal. And that person should be publicly praised, and that the mayor acts as if there is nothing that she can do, is a reminder, not that Jewish voices have not spoken up, and in fact, some Muslim voices have spoken up as well. But there has to be a broader communal response that says, if you're going to do something so odious, that you would have a public celebration in honor of a terrorist and mass murder, whatever you think of Israel and Israelis, find another place to do it. And I really hope that our larger society can wake up and rise up while there is still time, when groups such as any group that would sponsor a vigil of this kind are clearly not only anti-Zionist and anti-Semitic, but anti-Western, and that their desire is to change the very nature of the society in which we live. And I hope that people can find some kind of strength and some kind of focus while there's still time for us to stand up against the undermining of the kinds of democratic norms and mutual tolerance and acceptance that is necessary for a society like ours to continue. The praising of murderers, mass murderers, and terrorists is not the way. Let's continue with our prayer for those forced into service by the evil of that person and his Hamas terrorist organization and its terrorist allies, still today painfully fighting and sacrificing, as weakness in the face of assault is not meaningful almost anywhere, and is completely unacceptable in the Middle East neighborhood in which Israel lives, the original homeland of our Jewish people. And so for those with the courage to report and to fight, and sadly sometimes to sacrifice, we offer these words of prayer and strength and hope for a better future. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, ואמותינו שרה, רבקה, לאה ורחל, הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל ושאר מגיני עמנו העומדים על משמרתם. ישמרם הקדוש ברוך הוא, ויצילם מכל צרה וצוקה ומכל נגע ומחלה, וישלח ברכה בכל מעשה ידיהם. ויקוים בהם הכתוב, וכיתתוך אבותיהם לעתים, וחניתותיהם למזמרות, לא יישאו גוי אל גוי חרב, ולא ילמדון עוד מלחמה, וישבו איש תחת גפנו ותחת תאנתו, ואין מחריד ונאמר Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless the soldiers of the IDF and all who stand on guard for us. May the Holy One guard them against all difficulty and distress, injury, and illness. May all of their actions bring blessing, fulfilling the prophet's words. Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Let nation not lift up sword against nation, and may they learn war no more. May all sit under a vine or fig tree with none to make them afraid, and together we say, Amen. We continue now with our prayer for healing, healing of the mind and body and spirit, as well as wishing strength and healing for all those who have been injured in accidents or in other ways, and those who have been injured in this horrible conflict. And of course, we remember those who are isolated, whether by age or infirmity, and even more intensely, those who have been forcibly isolated, taken captive, and held by terrorists for 406 days now. And so for each of them, for all of them, for the names given to me and given to Temple, the names placed in the chat and this and other services, for all of them, we turn to these words of healing and strength. Mishaberach Avotenu Vaham Yitzchak V'Yakov Imotenu Sarah Rivka Leah V'Rachel V'Yirapeh et Kol Makotenu Yeh Ratzon Milfanech Adonai Eloheinu L'achalimam L'rapotam Vishlach lanu mehera refuah shlema v'teret shalom v'nomar Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless and heal all who suffer. May it be your will to provide healing and strength. Reveal to us the holiness of life, the wholeness of shalom, and let us say together, Amen. Well, I really do appreciate the opportunity each day for us to connect and reflect, and now also for us to remember, recalling those who died in recent days and weeks, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own. During the period of Shloshim, the last 30 days, we extend our condolences to the families of Jerry Schmelnitsky, Ernie Rovette, Nancy Draper, Phyllis Zeltzer, John Montague, Florence Wunsch, Helen Binns, Adam Adler, Molly Rosen. And we also remember all victims of terror and war, including terror victims Carmi Chasson, Mina Chasson, Mohammed Nai, Omer Weinstein, Shmuel Zalman Cohen, Sivan Sadeh, and the following active duty soldiers among those whose lives have been lost in these past 30 days in the war against terrorist aggression. We remember Barak Yisrael Sagan, Elad Simantov, Itai Malkovich, Yarden Zakai, Alon Safrai, Amit Chai, Avram Yosef Goldberg, Jonathan Yoni Keren, Achsan Daksa, Salman Habaka, Ofek Bachar, Aviram Hariv, Dan Maori, Eliav Amram Abitbol, Itamar Levin Friedman, Guy Shabtai, Sar Eliad Nevalsky, Shlomo Avia Naiman, Tom Segal, Alon Amitai, Ariel Sasanov, Eli Shai Young, Hillel Ovadia, Ido Ben Tzvi, Corinne Bitan, Omri Tamari, Shalev Yitzchak Sagron, Shera Haya Suslik, Yoav Agmon, Yosef Hib, Adil Kadosh, Gal Ben Charush, Shuval Ben Natan, Mordechai Chaim Amuyal, Shaul Moyal, Shmuel Harari, Shnur Zalman Cohen, Aviv Gilboa, Dror Chen, Eliashiv Etan Vider, Gary Latrukima Zolat, Itai Parizat, Malachi Yehuda Harari, Naor Chaimov, Nave Yair Asulin, Neo Gofer, Nisim Metal, Ofer Berkovich, Ofer Eliyahu, Or Katz, Sraya Elboim, Tzvi Matatiyahu Marantz, Yair Hananya, Yaakov Hillel, Yehuda Dror, Yishai Man, Gi'idan, Omri Lotan. Too many. And on yahrzeit, on the anniversary of their deaths, on this 14th day of the month of Cheshvan, 15 November 2024, we honor the life and legacy on yahrzeit of Lily Beck, Vicky Campbell, Max Dubiner, Alfred Kotanyi, Mike Kurtz, Annette Needleman, Sarah Silver, Meyer Sulman, Gordon Lyons Sutton, Samuel Vaseman. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be a blessing to us. Our griefs and our sympathies are mingled as we turn together to words sanctified by memory, words glorified by hope, the words of Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemeh rabba, be'alma divarach yeruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chaye echon v'yom echon, u'b'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, b'agala u'bizman kari v'imru amen. Yehe shmeh rabba mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yitalal shemeh dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata dameran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shmaya v'chaim alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'momav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael b'mo. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and bring comfort and strength to all who remember. And together we say, Amen. And the contribution has been made this morning. Temple's grateful for that contribution to the Kedushat HaGuf Sanctity of the Body Fund by Barbara and Lauren Bernstein, observing the yahrzeit for Vicky Campbell. Boker Tov. Please join us at Shabbat services tonight online, 6:30, tomorrow morning in person, also available streamed at 10 a.m., and Sunday morning right here on